Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. I'm Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. So during the course of the Democratic convention, which supposedly had a ton of speakers, right? One of the speakers was Bill Clinton. And apparently, during this his speech, he essentially said, and I'm going to read you guys this excerpt from Breitbart News just real quick. He apparently said that if Kamala Harris becomes the next president, she will be the president of joy. Yeah, you heard that. Apparently, this is what he said. She will be the president of joy. Let me just read you guys this real quick, just as an introduction. The left-wing New York Times is warning Democrats that, quote, joy is not a political strategy that will put Vice President Kamala Harris in the White House. This is apparently someone's opinion, obviously. Following the Democratic National Convention, Patrick Healy wrote in his opinion piece that the convention's message for the nation, if it were to be placed on a bumper sticker, would say, Harris is joy. Now, apparently, this is what this person said. He says, Healy continued, quote, don't get me wrong, there are many worse things than joy, but I cringed a little in the convention hall Tuesday night when Bill Clinton said Harris would be, quote, the president of joy. Joy is the new, quote, fetch from, quote, Mean Girls. Democrats are bent on making the word happen. Again, I didn't see Mean Girls, so I don't know anything, about that. But anyway, I wanted to read that real quick, just that small excerpt there, to get a gist of what exactly took place during that speech. Thankfully, I did not hear that. Okay. I'm sorry. I cannot stomach it. I tried. I can't stomach it. I might get past perhaps a couple of minutes of that vomit, but I can't really get into that because it's a bunch of nonsense. Okay. But when I read that, the thought that came to my mind wasn't Harris being the president of joy. The thought that came to my mind was a spiritual one. The Bible says that in the Old Testament book of Nehemiah, chapter 8, verse 10, that the joy of the Lord is the believers, the Christians' strength. That Christians receive joy from their relationship with God. Now let's look at the word joy. See, because really, honestly, the word joy is not used that much, even though it's talking about it, some kind of quote from Mean Girls, the movie, whatever. But joy is not a word used in a common way in our society. It's just not. When I hear the word joy, I think about something spiritual. I think about something biblical. And as I said, Nehemiah, the book of Nehemiah in the Old Testament, chapter 8, verse 10 says the joy of the Lord is the believer's strength. It's a spiritual thing. Joy is defined as a emotional or a feeling of happiness and peace that is given to the believer. I'm speaking on a spiritual level. Is given to the believer based on their relationship with Jesus Christ in spite of their circumstances. In spite of their circumstances. So to put it to you this way, a Christian who has the joy of the Lord is at peace and happy and content because he or she knows that God is in absolute sovereign control of their circumstances, no matter whether it be good or bad, and that God has them. He has their back. He's going to sustain them. He's going to take them through. He's going to deliver them. Everything is going to be all right, even though things are looking bad. They know that God is in control and God is going to deliver them. They have a relationship with God through the new birth, and they are at peace. That's the joy of the Lord. It's a spiritual, from a biblical perspective, it is a spiritual reality for a born-again believer. But when I heard this term, apparently from President Bill Clinton, whom I didn't know the man, how old is he, in his 90s now? Apparently he said this in his speech that she's going to be the president of joy. I got to thinking, regardless of whether or not they use that, they borrowed that term joy from Mean Girls or whatever. I got to thinking, in what way is this woman, this individual, this future president, God forbid, going to be a president of joy? Let's just look at the scenario here, understanding in terms of my definition of the word, well, I won't say my definition of the word joy, but the biblical definition of the word joy, and applying it to this situation if Kamala Harris becomes the president. If she doesn't change the policies that Biden has put in place, which I don't think she is, she's probably going to increase them and make them more intensive. If she's talking about putting, initiating price controls, okay, which is going to lead to shortages and long lines and people waiting in long lines for food, long lines, and yet she's going to be the president of joy. If she doesn't close the borders, right, and keeps the borders open, she's going to be the president of joy. If she doesn't put forth policies or encourage policies to be created by Congress, if you will, in terms of laws, and that those laws spilling down on a state level, and crime becomes worse and worse and worse, and it is getting worse. People are getting worse and worse and worse, more and more violent. I mean, one of our security officers at Tower City was assaulted with a glass bottle, got her face cut up right here, blood all over his shirt. If Kamala Harris doesn't change any of that, but yet she's going to be the president of joy, I ask, pray tell, how is she going to bring joy in a situation like that? Try to put them two together. What ticks me off about these politicians and these Democrats of today, these communists, because that's what they are. They're communists in disguise, in my opinion. And their far left radical views is they are good at using terminology to stir the people up. She's going to be the president of joy. Anyone that falls for that nonsense, you need to get everything. You need to suffer everything that's going to happen eventually. You need to deal with the consequences of that. Because if you're going to fall for that type of term, she's going to be the president of joy, rather than, hey, you know what people are dealing with in this country is high inflation, high crime, open borders. We got wars over it now. Right now, the situation with Hamas and Israel has gotten out of line. It's gotten out of hand. They said Trump was going to bring it. He never did. Biden got in office. Now it's Ukraine. Man, stop it. Just stop it. We are in a joyless situation right now. If Harris gets in office or she's going to be the president of joy, the only way she's going to be the president of joy is if she reversed these policies that Biden put in place. And I guarantee you she's not going to do it. She's going to be the president of hell. That's what she's going to be. The president of suffering. That's what she's going to be. The president of oppression. That's what she's going to be. The president of high inflation. That's what she's going to be. The president of open borders, that's what she's going to be. The president of high crime, that's what she's going to be. Not the president of joy. Stop using terminology to stir the people up. It's high time Americans pay attention to what these politicians are using. As Thomas Sowell often says, we got to get past all the rhetoric. The rhetoric that these politicians are spitting at us. That's what it is. It's rhetoric. Now, people can argue, well, it's better. Man, look, come on. Rhetoric is here or there. Rhetoric is a bunch of, all rhetoric is using terminology and phrases and so forth to get people to believe in a certain worldview. It can either be good or bad. And in this sense, it's bad. It's bad. She's going to be the president of joy. The joy of the Lord is my strength, not the joy of Kamala Harris. Okay, so I just wanted to say that. I think this is foolish. I think it's crazy. The issue here is policies, and we need to pay attention to that. Policies, 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 policies. My thing is like this. Do not come to me talking about anything crazy if we're not going to talk about policies. I don't want to hear nothing about Kamala Harris being the next president of joy and all this kind of nonsense. Come on, man. Come up with something better than that. That's the most retarded thing I've ever heard coming out of these people's mouths in quite some time. The president of joy. Like I said, if nothing changes, what kind of joy is she going to bring? Her word salads? Was she gonna put some onions in her word salad this time? Before she had a few cucumbers and some tomatoes, but what she's gonna do with her word salad this time? Put some onions in there to make it a little more, I don't know, tasteful. I don't know. What words is she going to use to make the people feel joyful? Oh, Kamala Harris, please say some things that are going to make me feel good about high inflation. I can't even go to the store and buy groceries like I want to. Please tell me how with these illegals coming in and causing all kinds of problems. Some of them are, and I'm not saying all of them, but some of them are criminals and so forth, gangs from Venezuela and so forth, and they're robbing people. So please give me some joy, Kamala Harris. What do you have to say that's going to make me joyful about this situation? Huh? What are you going to say? What is it? Well, I mean, if you create this idea of price controls, and all of a sudden the manufacturers stop producing the goods because there's no profit initiative in it. There's no profit to be made out of it. So they stop producing, they stop manufacturing the goods. What is it going to be? It's going to be a limit on the goods. It's going to be a lack of them because the producer is no longer producing them because there is no profit incentive, because the prices can't go up to cover the cost of producing. So they stop producing. So as a result, you have a lack of the goods. And as a result, you have long lines and people breaking their neck trying to get the goods. That sounds like communism to me. Oh, Kamala Harris, what joyful words will you have to say when something like that happens? Bring us joy. The president of joy. Use it, man. People got to use their head and get past all this fluff these politicians are saying. And Bill Clinton, I'm glad I didn't see that. I'm glad I did not see that. That would have made my stomach curl in knots. All I want to do is read it. Let me just read it. Let me read it, and then that's it. I'm not going any further than that. But yeah, that's what I had to say about that buffoonery. What do you guys think about it? Do you think that if Kamala Harris becomes the next president, she's going to be president of joy? Is she going to bring you joy or bring us hell? I'm just saying. That's what I had to say about that. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.